Hello, everybody. We're just jumping right into it today. We got the Trump rally in Delaware, Ohio. You can see him entering there. Delaware, Ohio. That should just not be a thing we have. I've thought about it a lot. Like, duplicate cities, out. Whichever city is the smaller one, or whichever one was established first, we'll say, gets to keep the name of the city. The rest of them, gone. Same thing with cities that are named the same thing as a state or the same thing as another country, gone. Or, yeah, like there's a Paris, Texas. No. Unacceptable. Let me see you guys in the chat. Let me know that you can hear me. I just hopped right on and we're just jumping right into it. So, hey Liberty, does everything sound good? My mic is all good. I had those technical difficulties last time, so now I'm a little bit more on edge. Let's see. It's just the music playing. That's why I have it muted. I'm proud to be an American. That's all you're missing. Where at least I know I'm free. I get copyrighted every time, which I know isn't that big of a deal, but why not prevent it, you know? Let's see. So yeah, we're just gonna be reacting like we always do. Apparently this was off the rails as far as his rallies go, so let's take a look.
Ohio, thank you very much. Incredible people. I wish those cameras would turn around and go all the way back as far as the eye can see. But they never do that because they're fake news. They never do it, do they? I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots, incredible people. And 7 months from now...
Liberty says she hates that song. I have a guilty pleasure with that song. It's cheesy, but it's kind of good.
The people of Ohio are going to vote to fire the radical left Democrats. And you're going to elect an incredible slate of true America First Republicans to Congress. And we're going to send JD Vance to the United States Senate.
So that's a little bit of context for this. Is JD Vance is running for Senate. Trump doing this rally to, endorse him. Or I'm sure he's already endorsed him, but, support, get voters out and all that type of stuff.
And together we're going to end crazy Nancy Pelosi. She's crazy as a bedbug. We're going to end her political career once and for all. It's going to happen. And when she loses that position, she'll be out of there so fast, she'll be leaving. In 2016 and 2020, we won Ohio in a landslide. We won it by a lot of votes. Probably should have won it by more than that. And we're getting ready to deliver yet another stunning victory for Ohio workers and families this November. It's going to be incredible, and I'm going to be with you. We're going to be with you all the way. For decades, your state was ruthlessly betrayed by globalist politicians.
One of the things that I was reading about is each one of these rallies that Trump is doing is getting less and less attended, which is a really good sign. So there's hope. Even though, lots of cheering and stuff, the camera looked like a lot of people, but just the sheer count is getting less and less, which one of the points someone's making, he's just doing so many of them that there's no demand,
And you know it better than anyone. We were there with you. Corrupt special interests and far-left radicals who shipped away your jobs, shut down your factories, closed up your steel mills, opened up your borders and undercut your wages and let crime, gangs, and deadly drugs pour into Ohio communities. And you know what I'm saying? And we stopped it. We stopped it cold.
Other thing is, there was a few mental, lapses in the speech that I heard about. I haven't watched it yet. Liberty asked me. This is my first time watching it. Happened on Saturday. A lot of times the weekends I'm busy, so I can't live cover it, but then I like to live react to it. So I didn't watch it so that I could, give my honest response.
We brought back your jobs. We brought back your jobs. All of that changed when you finally got a president who put America first and who put Ohio first, and we did. Proud to have done it. The fact is, you got a president who made America great again. And right now, our country is going to hell. But under Biden, Pelosi, and the radical Dems, it's back to America last. They actually say it's America last, and that's what it is. I got gas.
We say it, guys. Lefties go around saying America last.
Gasoline for cars, I got it down to $1.87 a gallon. All you could buy, no lines, no nothing. Now they have it to $5, $6, $7, $8, and it's going higher. Get used to it. I rebuilt our military, including our nuclear capability. We don't even like talking about it, but I rebuilt our nuclear capability. We had bombs and we had explosives.
Just so y'all know, a lot of times whenever I react to Donald Trump rallies, the part of the reason I do it is there is a lot of interest out there. And so a good amount of people view it that don't view my daily videos. So with that being said, to give you context, I've tried before watching these and debunking every single point whenever he says a lie. It takes so long. It gets a little bit out of hand if I try to stop every time. So big things that I really want to touch on, I'll pause and talk about. But for the most part, we'll kind of listen to him. So don't take me not saying something as me endorsing his statements, if that makes sense. Because like I said, it would be a 10-hour live stream if I fully debunked every time he said something that was wrong.
Even knew if it worked. And I don't like talking about it, but we have somebody that talks about it all the time, Putin. And we have nobody that understands what's happening. It's a very sad situation. We've never been in this position before. But we created something very special. Not in 75 years since the Air Force, we created Space Force. Very important. It's doing great. So we created a great new beautiful military, and they gave $85 billion of it away to the Taliban. Thank you very much, including 700,000 machine guns, rifles, and guns. How about
Jared said missed the beginning. Did you get a copyright strike for the song last time? Yeah, I've gotten a copyright strike every time that I played the Proud to Be an American song. So it's not that big of a deal. Like y'all know, I'm still waiting to get monetized, so it's not like taking anything away, but might as well not. I don't know if it's copyright strike. It's just, what does that mean? A copyright strike? It just puts the little copyrighted thing, and it would demonetize it if I was monetized. But part of it is I decided to start this live video and just like jump right into it instead of having a countdown or anything. And so I was going to talk, so that's why I had it muted as well.
that, JD? 700,000. What the hell? You know, they're one of the largest arms dealers now in the world. They sell everything that they took from us. They shouldn't have had 10 cents worth of equipment. They have our airplanes, our helicopters, our tanks, and 70,000. Think of that. I don't think there's a used truck lot or car lot anywhere in the world that has much more than 500 or 600 cars. You know, they say the inventory is full if you have 500 on the big ones. 70,000 trucks, 70,000. We gave them, many of them armor-plated. I was getting us safely out of Afghanistan. Well, keeping Bagram, we were going to be out with dignity, with strength, with respect. They totally humiliated our nation with soldiers killed, 13 great soldiers, and nobody talks around all of the incredible soldiers that were so horrifically injured. You never even hear about it. I hear about it. No legs, no arms, just blown up, disgraceful. We didn't lose a soldier. I spoke to Abdul, the head of the Taliban. You didn't lose a soldier in 18 months, not one, until that horrible day, the most embarrassing day in the history of our country, I feel. And they left hostages behind. They left the equipment, but they left hostages, many, many hostages behind. We created the safest border in the history of our country. They created the most unsafe border, perhaps, anywhere in the world. I don't think there's a border in the world that looks like that. Third world nations have better borders than we do right now. We have no idea from where they come. Last month, 127.
Y'all, I'm going to... I figured out there, or no, I just learned, there's a rally in Austin, which is where I live, a Trump rally, May 14th. So I'm going to go in person to it. And that'll be awesome. Get some interviews.
7 different countries were represented by illegal.
If any of you guys are new to my channel, go check out, go to my homepage, click videos, scroll down to I think it's titled like, I went to a Trump rally and this happened. And it's talking about, or showing my interviews with Trump supporters, and some crazy stuff came out of it. So definitely go check that out.
Aliens coming into our country. Many prisons are emptied into our country. They're getting rid of their prison population. Isn't that wonderful? We had the safest border, think of it, the safest border, 3 weeks away from completing the wall, which I assume they would have done very quickly. We had 2.5 years of litigation before we could start the wall. We did a wall in record time. 2.5 years, we had to win 11 different cases, many brought by Congress, Democrats in Congress. But we did an amazing job. We had the safest border in the history, recorded history of our country.
So, the safest border in the history of our country. Obviously, y'all know the wall was not built anywhere to the extent that he pretends it was. And so you can't really point to that. I mean, I guess you could say like he was, because it was so brutal to children and families and human rights were being violated. Yeah, maybe people were discouraged from trying to come. But if that's your, if that's the bar you hold America to, that we can just be very inhumane to people to not have to deal with some immigration, which I think is a beautiful thing. Okay, yeah, good for you. I guess then he's not really lying.
Now we have the worst border in the recorded history. We did a great job with the drugs coming through, human traffickers. We had virtually no inflation. They have the highest inflation in 47 years and going much, much higher.
Okay, that's one I got to debunk. I'm sorry, we're going to get through this, but obviously we've talked about this. A lot of that inflation was caused from the spending that was done under Trump. I don't blame him. You got to spend a lot whenever you go through the greatest economic crash since the Great Depression, or whatever it was cited as. You're going to have to spend a lot. That's why you have a government, is so that in crises like this, it can step in, hold the economy up for long enough so that everyone, we can get our legs under us, handle the pandemic, etc. So I don't blame them, but a lot of the inflation was caused because we had to spend in overdrive. The Fed was pumping tons of money into the economy. That's actually what contributed a lot. The entire world economy did the same thing, and that's why there's inflation across the world. So it's not Joe Biden coming in and passing like one rescue package, and that also contributed a little, I'm sure, but his infrastructure bill or something, Silliness.
which is costing families $6,000 a year. That's bigger than any tax increase.
C.A. Jones said, I don't know how I got here. Well, I'm so happy you're here, and I am responding to it as requested. So stick with us. If you haven't seen my channel, definitely go check that out. If you like live stream content, I do that. If you like more well-produced, kind of shorter consumable videos, I also put that out.
Ever proposed. And speaking of tax increases, we cut taxes more than any president in the history of the United States. Biggest
tax cut for the top most wealthy people in our country and wealthy corporations
in the history of our country, so they can do the Green New Deal and waste a lot of your money. A lot of your money. People that don't even know anything about the environment came up with the idea. It's a hoax. Just one of many hoaxes. You know that. We had 160 million people working. They have millions fewer people working, millions and millions fewer. And a lot of people don't even want to go back to work. It looks like they're not going back to work. The numbers are totally phony numbers. They say 3.5%, 4%, but you're talking about a whole different deal. We had 160 million people. We never had.
Oh yeah, C.A. Jones, David Pakman, he shouted me out. A lot of people came from there.
With a climate hoax that will close down our businesses, destroy America economically, make our country impossible to live in, and have us be the laughing stock of every country in the world. How about the Paris Environmental Accord? Would have cost us $1 trillion. I ended it, and one of the first things he did, let's give him back $1 trillion, and it's probably more than that every single year. $1 trillion, JD, you got to do something about it. Sick. Under our leadership, we were respected all over the world. Our country was respected. They may not have all liked me, but they respected us. And they respected us at a level that hadn't been seen for decades, and now our leaders of countries don't even return the president's phone call. They don't even call him back. You've been hearing about that. We cut job-killing regulations for individuals and businesses at the highest level in the history of our country, and they're working feverishly to put all of those horrible regulations back. I think the regulations might almost have been more important than the tax cuts. Largest tax cuts, largest regulation cuts. Nobody came close. No president came close to what we did, whether it was 4 years, 8 years, or in one case more. We had tremendous success in COVID with therapeutics and Operation Warp Speed that even the other side said what you did with Warp Speed was incredible. And now you look at the Biden administration was unable to get the tests done. They created unyielding and unsustainable and totally horrific mandates and radical mask regulations. And we did just the opposite. And we had far better success in every single category except for public relations. You know, we were too busy working to think about public relations. They do a lousy job, except they have a fake news, a fake press. These people right back here, they report fake stories all day long. All day long, that's what you hear. And you know, it's so important. It is so, like, as an example, I thought.
So here's the interesting thing about reacting to these rallies. So many of the things he says, so much of the content of these rallies are identical. They're just a copy paste of what he did at the last one, so it can get boring. But then you get these nuggets where he just says something completely new and crazy, and it makes it all worth it.
But the cameras, this has been happening for a long time. My wife calls me, how is the crowd? I say, do we love our First Lady, right?
She's not the First Lady anymore.
But I call up, I say, so How did it sound? How did it look on television? Did I look good? Was my hair in good shape? And oftentimes, you know, she said, I mean, I had 87,000 people in Texas. I called her, how was it? You're all right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I was at the rally in Texas, in Conroe, Texas. There was not anywhere close to 87,000 people. I think my estimate was definitely under 10,000. Could have been around, like, it was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like, you know, in the single thousands. That's crazy. 87,000. You know what that looks like? I've gone to massive concerts that have that amount of people. I promise you, it wasn't even a tiny percent of that number.
Oh, God.
Which, again, that's not me like saying anything. I'm just, don't lie, because of course, if Biden did a rally, he would not get as many people as Trump. Absolutely. Now Bernie could get probably, you know, the same amount, but that's just not what reflects into political power. The average voter who's going to vote for Biden may not go to a rally, but they'll still cast a vote, and that's what gets you in power. So it's not the most important indicator. Still a lie, though, that he said.
I said, all right, how did I look? Not great. The hair wasn't good. I said, that's so good. Now, who would say that except somebody that's very honest and I think loves you very much, right? How was your hair? Oh, it was just wonderful. But we've done a job that I don't think anybody, you look at this crowd as far as the eye can see, but I always said, you know, I thought that the cameras were probably fixed. I thought they may be fixed so you couldn't turn them. And then one day there were a couple of troublemakers way in a back corner, and those cameras were ripped around and that steel bench so beautifully, and they covered that back corner so, and then I realized they just don't want to talk about the crowds. They refuse to do it. They sit back there nice and smug. But you know what? We're getting the word out better than anybody's ever gotten the word out.
Like that's a sorry, this pops up. That's a solid amount of people. But he just doesn't need to be. I'm guessing all behind that is empty. But like that's a you know good amount of people. Just be proud with what you got. You don't got to overinflate it.
Anyway. In the last year, more people died under the Biden administration than the Trump administration. Nobody knows that.
But I just don't think he has a concept of numbers, because that's a lot of people. Nowhere close to 50, 60,000. But like, you're just doing some random rally. Good for you. You know?
Got rid of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with the USMCA. You're making a lot of money. One of the best trade deals ever made by any country. In fact, it's so good that Mexico and Canada are trying desperately to renegotiate the deal. And JD, I don't think you'll let anybody, don't let it happen. They killed us for...
We're just going to mute it so you can keep going. Jared said 87,000 is more than NRG Stadium. Exactly. Liberty said, I'm in Connecticut coastline. It's freezing here tonight. C.A. Jones said, Luke, are there more U's than not U's in your area? I am in Austin, so a good amount of me's, but I'm on the edge of Austin. So right, you know, on the other side of me is kind of the hill country, and all of those people would be not as politically aligned with me. But even within the community that I'm in, there's tons of diversity of thought. And there's lots of conservatives, lots of Trump supporters and stuff. So kind of mixed bag. But you go to like downtown Austin, definitely a lot of progressives. Whoops. Lord have mercy.
And he said, we have to do something, sir. I sat down with the Whirlpool people, and we put tremendous tariffs on all of those machines that were being dumped. They were being dumped into the United States. We put tremendous tariffs on them, taxes and tariffs. And South Korea, sorry to do that, sorry about that, but South Korea and China primarily, And that is now one of the strongest businesses we have in our country. And it's one of the greatest businesses in Ohio. And it wouldn't have been there for another 2 months if we didn't do. And I want to just congratulate that particular chairman. He's retired now. But he sat down and he cried before me what they were doing to this industry. And I said, we're going to do something about it. And we did that with many industries. But that one, I went up to the Whirlpool factory with...
Oh, he's talking about toilets or something? Washing machines? Okay, gotcha.
They make it, and it was incredible. And that's washers, dryers, all of that stuff, the dishwashers. And then we changed some rules, too. You know, I said, what's the problem? Can we help you? Well, they don't give us any water for the dishwasher. What does that mean?
Water.
That we don't have enough water. You know,
water.
The ladies, usually, mostly the ladies, in some cases, just to protect myself, in some cases, the men. Okay? He'll say, it was a terrible thing he said. He said, only the ladies would. No, there's some men out there, too. They're not so happy about it either. But in the dishwashers, as an example, they had a little problem. What was the problem? They didn't give you any water. And there was so little water that you couldn't wash the dishes. So what do people do? They kept pressing and do it again, do it again, do it again. So by the time you do it 10 times, the dishes are finally there. You've wasted a lot of electricity. And you...
So it's interesting. First off, the fact that he thinks anyone would run their dishwasher 10 times. If you run your dishwasher 10 times and whatever was on your plate is still on it, or your dish, throw the dish away, okay? Also, nobody would run it 10 times. That would take like an entire day. And then I didn't understand what he was saying about just women. I missed that part. But it's funny. He's just kind of redoing his whole you have to flush the toilet 10 times thing that he got made fun of for. Now it's with dishwashers.
Spend more water than if you did it right. So I had a regulation where I let you have all the damn water you want for your dishes. And the same thing for your clothing. Same thing for your clothing, for your dish. For your dishwashers, great, but for your washers and dryers, in the washers, they had no water coming out. And I just asked these simple questions to the head of Whirlpool. Who the hell knows better than him? I said, do you have a problem? Yeah, the problem is there's not enough water. I also did it, by the way, for your sinks. You ever go to a new home, you buy a nice new home because of the Trump policies, homes were going up like crazy. By the way, I hate to tell you, the stock market dropped over 1,000 points on Friday. Lots of luck, everybody. But you ever go into a new home and you turn on the faucet and there's no water comes out? They have restrictions. And, you know, we're talking about places you don't have a water problem. A lot of states, most states don't have a water problem. In fact, you do have a water problem. You have too much water. You don't know what to do with it.
I said water. So
they have restrictors.
Water.
So you're sitting there washing your hands. And come on, water, come out, baby. I want to wash. I got rid of it.
Okay, I will say, this is something I've started to say a lot. This phrase, this is the most likable thing about Trump. So all of the, you know, things that we criticize him for on a daily basis should not be forgotten. But I don't think it's helpful to the left to pretend that anything that isn't horrible is. Like, whenever people watch him and like see a clip like this and be like, "Gah, rah, rah." I get it because you have so much cooped up anger towards him, but you have to recognize what people like about him to be able to reach them, you know? And so being like, oh, look, this is so different than a normal politician. He's kind of doing a little comedy stand-up sort of vibe. I can see why you might like an off-the-cuff a politician instead of someone who's always so scripted all the time. You know, you can see why people like that element while not understanding why they accept all of the terrible things, if that makes sense.
Same thing with showers. I'd go into a shower and I'd go to a hotel that was new.
Oh my gosh, C.A. Jones. That's amazing. I mean, horrible. I'm so glad that you're here right now. But amazing that you feel some sort of, you know, an uplifted feeling right now. We're definitely here for you. So feel free to reach out to me directly too. I'm sorry that's going on.
And
And I said, I can't
But we will try to make you feel better here and now with this absurdity. I can tell you that.
stay in these places. Why? The water just drips out a little bit slowly. I want to take good care of my hair. I don't want that. No, it's true.
Oh my gosh. Guys, he is so vain. I love it. I love and hate it. I love it because I totally relate to that. Like, I don't want to make myself out to be weird, but I like being clean and give thought to maybe I can't say this in a way that doesn't sound annoying and like whatever. Point is, I relate to being a little bit vain sometimes. And then I hate it because that's the type of personality that the right criticizes as like not masculine. Like, my hair, you know, but they love it when he does it.
I mean, I put the soap in. It takes you 20 minutes to have the water come out to get the damn soap out of your hair. But, and I won't talk about the third element of a bathroom because...
Cia Jones, absolutely. Of course. That's what we should all be motivated to do as people. So, I mean it. He's about to get to the toilets. Well, I guess he's not going to get to them. But usually he says, I'm not going to mention it, and then he mentions it. So we'll see.
Every time I do, the fake news only talks about that. But you know what I'm talking about.
That's all I'll talk about, yes.
1 time, 2 times, 5 times, 10 times. No water comes out. So I totally took that out, and we made it so that when you have a sink, you could actually wash your hands normally.
So just there, when he was talking about this, he's talking about toilets. And to be clear, we've all been there, okay? We've all been there, Trump. We don't blame you. When you go to the restroom, numero dos, so we'll just say it makes a plop sound, not a drop sound, okay? Sometimes it doesn't, what's the word? Exit in the most efficient way possible, and it leaves a lot of work to be done afterwards with toilet paper. Okay, you're all with me so far. So Trump is one of those people. We've all been there again, but maybe it's a bigger problem for him because of what he eats, so it doesn't like clean break. Okay, that image with him and okay. Whew. So he has to wipe a lot and uses up a lot of toilet paper. And if you're smart, what you do is you do a few pieces of toilet paper, you flush it once. That goes down. Do some more. If you know it's going to be like one of those situations where you have to wipe a lot. Why am I talking about this? So with Trump, he doesn't know that. And so he just wipes until it's clear. Hopefully he's not one of those people who leaves it nasty. You got to wipe it till the toilet paper is white, right? And then he has you all like know this image of just a big pile of toilet paper in your toilet. So then that's why he thinks that everyone's having to flush a bunch of times because he flushes, it doesn't go down because it's clogged. We've solved it in the most disgusting way possible.
And you can take a shower, and you can do that other thing normally, all right? The third element of the bathroom. So we did it with the dryers. We did it with what we did with the dryers. What we did with the electric was great, but we did it with the washers, and we did it with just about everything. And we had a sane group of manufacturers wanting to do the job, and so many of them.
This is gonna take so long. Sorry, guys. I always say we're gonna try to get through it, and then I have too many things to say. But that's why you come here. If you want to watch it by itself, then just go watch it by itself. Let's see. One of the things that I've been noticing is I mentioned to y'all my last live stream that I started running ads, right? Just, get a little growth in here, whatever. And previously, David Pakman shouted me out. We have pretty similar politics. And so his followers came over and all my comments are positive and blah, blah, blah. And now it's so annoying because whenever you run ads, you can't quite direct it just to people who agree with you. So you end up getting overflow, and there's some people who aren't so well thought out. They don't think out the things they say before they comment them, who are now interacting with my content, which is Wonderful.
We're based here, and I'm happy to have done it. Now, let me give you the bad news. They're trying to undo all of those regulations so that when you go into a house, you can't get any water. So we're going to fight on that, and JD and everybody is going to be fighting on that. We finally have it down to a level where you have some sanity. The fact is the election was rigged and stolen, and now our country is being destroyed. Country's being destroyed. Our country's going to hell. We've never had it.
It's pretty wild that just so casually, I didn't even think anything of it. I'm sitting here typing some text I'm about to put on the screen, and I just hear him say, and the election was stolen this year, and I'm like, yep, of course he would say that. That's the former president just saying, the last election was stolen. No evidence, but it was. Okay. Again, if anyone watches me and you get super upset, just so y'all know, if I talk weirdly whenever I'm live streaming, it's because I haven't yet mastered being able to read y'all's comments while I'm talking, and so then I am reading and talking at the same time, and it comes out weird. If you get upset watching me and you're like, yo, you said there's no evidence of election fraud, but there's so much, I am so open. If y'all see me, especially on Instagram, I'm posting like, please come debate me, anybody. Anything that I say or believe that you disagree with, you are so open. Shoot me an email, lukebeasleyofficial@gmail.com. Or DM me on Instagram. That's what I check the most. And we'll set it up. You can show me all the evidence that you feel like you have, okay?
Anything like this, and we have a president right now, sadly, who has absolutely no idea what the hell is happening. He's shaking hands with the air. He's walking around somewhat.
So the shaking hands with the air thing, y'all saw that. It was because the camera was zoomed in and it looked like he went to nobody, but really there were people over there that he was kind of like pointing his hand at, like towards them, and he turned the other side and pointed at the other side. Just a fake scandal.
Bewildered. I'd say it's no good. And taking orders from the Easter Bunny. You saw that one? No. You know, the Easter Bunny was a political operative. He did a good job, actually. That guy, we should hire that guy. He was very good. He said, no, don't talk to those people. And he's doing all of this while Putin does nothing but talk about nuclear weapons and destroying the world.
He's going to say the N-word. Ready?
We have our signals very crossed in our...
Not the actual N-word, but Trump has started doing this weird thing where he says Putin uses the N-word, nuclear. You know, keeps using the N-word, nuclear. Just so dumb.
Country. We've never had a situation like this. The choice this November is very simple. If you want to keep America in a death spiral of crime, look at what's happening on crime with these Democrat-run cities. Chaos, craziness, corruption, and historic national catastrophes. You must absolutely go out and vote for the radical Democrats. If you want to have a country that's going to be great again, you must vote.
Okay, super quickly, you guys. On my last live stream, I asked if there would be people willing to support the show through a Patreon, and then I would put out a weekly bonus show, 30 minutes to an hour, extra content that only people who were subscribed to that Patreon, that starts at $5 a month and goes all the way up high, like if you just want to give more. But all of the different tiers or the different levels give you access to the exact same bonus show. So it's not like you get more if you give more money, but obviously more money is appreciated, just whatever you have to spare. And we're just gonna get this thing started, build up a little base of supporters, and hopefully continue to grow the channel. Not hopefully, definitely continue to grow the channel. So if you're interested in that, go to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley. And the last show, so I released the first one and I covered a bunch of things. It's fun because I can just cover random stuff that I like, want to look at and just think are funny and stuff like that, instead of important topics or whatever. And so it'll be a lot of fun. We talked about Dave Rubin, Mike Tyson, like punched this guy on a plane. Watched that. Multiple things. So go check it out. Patreon.com/Luke Beasley. Become a supporter of the show and get bonus content.
And again. Thank you. That's very good. Very good. I like that guy. Again and again and again. You know, we had it great again, and then we said, I think we should do a comma, make America great again, again. You know, our new slogan, our new slogan was keep America great. The problem is they've done such damage, we cannot really say right now, and very sadly, that America is great. We're not respected anywhere. We're not listened to. It's very sad what's happened. So we'll say make America great again, okay? But you have to vote for America First, Republicans. There's no better proof that our country...
Jared got to it so quick. Jared Frank, thank you so much. Became a member. You are the man. Let's see. Let me know if hopefully the post is there. Just let me know if the bonus show. Don't start watching it now because you're watching this, but it should be there, and it'll be every Saturday. Some point during Saturday I'll upload. So by the time you wake up Sunday, it'll definitely be there. And Jared made a great point. Only start Patreon if you're able to consistently put out the bonus content. It's going to be a huge priority, so I'll definitely have that out there for y'all because you guys are the top, top priorities because you're the supporters. I mean, you're the ones who are going to be the ones who allow me to do this and eventually make it something more exclusive as far as my life pursuit goes.
Is being run by a deranged group of extremists than the treacherous crusade against American energy and Ohio energy.
Oh my goodness, what the heck? Bill, is it DeCoss? Bill, you are amazing. Thank you so much for becoming a member at patreon.com/Luke Beasley. Hopefully you enjoy the bonus content as well. Amazing.
They see what you're doing to your energy and your energy industry with their fake Green New Deal policies. Biden and the Democrat socialists have done what our worst enemies could never, ever have dreamed of doing to our country. What they have done to our country in so many different ways, but look at energy. Our opponents are deliberating and deliberately crippling the most.
I love when he does that. He says a word wrong, and then he says and then the correct one. So deliberating and deliberating and deliberated.
Most energy-rich nation on the planet. We walk on liquid gold. And they want us to buy from Venezuela. Let's go over to Venezuela, the dictator that everybody hated so much. And now we're supposed to be buying energy from the dictator from Venezuela who's pushing everybody out so he can have a country all to himself. It'll be him and about 30 people. They're all pouring out of Venezuela. We had Venezuela ready. They're crushing domestic.
Awesome, Jared. Thank you so much. And I saw your thing about the Trump rally. If your practice ends up getting canceled or something, just let me know. Again, email me at lukebeasleyofficial@gmail.com because it'd be cool to have you there as well.
Production, driving up prices beyond any form of belief.
Liberty, thank you.
And for all intents and purposes, waging an economic war against our very own citizens. And that's exactly what it is. 1.5 years ago, we were energy independent. Never happened before in our country. And today we're begging OPEC. OPEC is a name you didn't hear about OPEC for 4.5 years. And now you do, as well as Russia. And they're getting the oil. You know, one of the problems we have with Russia, they've never sold oil for so much. So it comes in through the back door into the United States. We're begging them. Can you imagine? We have more than anybody. And we're begging them for oil. They gave up, first day in office, they gave up ANWR, the biggest site anywhere in the world in Alaska, probably bigger than Saudi Arabia. And
C.A. Jones says, I'm so tired of going high. Like, you know, Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. I feel that.
A friend of mine called me up. He's in that business, but had nothing to do with ANWR. He said, I heard you got ANWR done as part of our tax bill. I said, no, actually we don't, but we're close. But I don't know. You know, there's some people I don't like. I don't like Murkowski. She wasn't pushing it. She's a terrible senator from Alaska. So I said, we should get rid of her. You should be smart and get rid of her. Write to all of your friends in Alaska. Say, don't vote for Murkowski. So she approved somebody the first day the person goes into office, and they write out ANWR. But a friend of mine called up. He said, what do you think of the ANWR? I said, I don't care. I don't really care. I didn't know too much about it. What the hell? I hadn't been doing this too long. They said, well, you know, it's amazing. I don't care. I have no skin in the game. But ANWR has been tried for 60 years, 65 years. They've been trying to get it. It's the biggest site probably in the world. It's incredible. I thought you might have gotten it. It would be a hell of an accomplishment. I said, are you sure about that? He said, no, it would be an incredible thing. I called my people. By the way, you know when I told you I didn't care about ANWR? Put it in the bill. And we got it approved. See? He didn't know. He didn't know.
I don't think anyone knows or cares what he's talking about right now. And he's clap. Okay.
But that's the way it happens, Mike. The environmental extremists, and they are extremists, they're destroying our country, are trying to replace COVID crisis hysteria with climate crisis hysteria. And they're trying to replace COVID emergency powers with climate emergency powers. You see it happening all the time. And by the way, you see what's happening also with the masks. They want the masks to start because they want it for the election, JD. They want the masks on, and they want those mail-in ballots where they can cheat like hell. They're trying to figure it out. And these extremists don't use the term global warming anymore because it was getting cooler and the term wasn't working. So now they simply use the word climate change because that covers if it gets cooler or hotter or water up, water down. It doesn't matter, whatever the hell happens.
Wow. I heard someone use the phrase weaponized ignorance. Perfectly applies here. So climate change, a part of the reason I think that people maybe, I don't even know if it's true that people use climate change more than they did before and global warming is less used. It could be true. I personally use climate change the most. And if that's the case, it probably does have something to do with people on their side not understanding and going, global warming, well, it can't be warming because it's cold today. Like, oh, wow. That's the size of your understanding about what we're talking about with global warming. Because obviously when the like entire planet's average temperatures are rising, that causes ripple effects that makes extreme weather events and then can make even, you know, extreme cold as well. When you have rising temperatures at a global level, that causes climate change, triggering extreme weather conditions, including extreme cold, like for example in Texas, the crazy snowstorms and stuff. The fact that people cheer and go, haha, they stopped using global warming because it's not actually warming, is...
Climate change, you covered. We're 100% covered. They went through all the global warming stuff, but it was just not playing. Climate change. No matter what happens, when you say that, you're okay. In the Republican Party, we reject every single left-wing energy mandate and restriction, just as we reject COVID mandates and COVID restrictions, and they want to put them back on. And with your vote this fall, we will shut down Biden's energy war on their country and on Ohio. You know, you're a big energy state. A lot of people don't realize that. Very big. You look at
1 second.
Ohio, you look at Pennsylvania.
These two women, but especially her. Wait, she stopped. A second ago, she was just dead smiling at the camera, just like the biggest smile you've ever seen. Oh, she stopped. Now she's not as happy. Bummer. There she is again. She's so happy watching this. Aw, that's kind of sweet. She has like a nice smile.
Ohio. And just like we're going to beat them in 22, and by the way, in 24, we're going to beat them badly in 24. The actions of the far left radical Democrats.
Thank you so much to Liberty. Is it Hassan? Liberty, you are amazing. Just joined the Patreon, became a member, got access to the weekly bonus show at patreon.com/Luke Beasley. You are amazing, Liberty.
Democrats show pure contempt for our country and our people. Thank you. I always say they have the best seat in the House. That's a good-looking group back there, you know. See, you people actually have, I always say it, movie stars, they're on, so look at all those cameras from the fake news, look at them all. But they always turn the cameras off when we talk about the rigged election, then the cameras go off. They don't want to, that's what they don't want to talk about. They never want to talk about the rigged election. But look no further than their program of totally open borders. Can you imagine somebody wanting open borders? Now, either you're stupid or you hate our country.
Yes, Liberty, I just shouted you out. Thank you so much. Guys, the borders aren't open. Come on. This is, oof. I heard a close person in my life say that, and it broke my heart. We're still deporting so many people. We still turn people around. We should be giving, okay, we're not getting into the immigration conversation, but please, do you know what an open border is? That would be, you can cross the border, come into the country, no interaction with law enforcement, no legal process, and just start living here. We don't have that.
It can only be one of two. There's no way that anybody can want open borders. The radical Democrats have chosen their side, and they've sided with the drug cartels, which is another thing. The money is so big. These guys, there has to be something going on, because nobody can want open borders where hundreds of countries are pouring in. And they are really, look,
countries.
These people are very streetwise, their leaders. These are dictators, presidents, prime ministers. They're very smart people. They're taking the people they don't want and they're putting them into large groups of people. The caravan, I think I came up with that name. I call them caravans. And they're pouring into our country and nobody even talks to them. They just pour right in.
It's
and
just
who can
not
want
true.
that? They've sided with these drug cartels and human traffickers. Almost all trafficking in women, mostly women. And child smugglers and criminal aliens and savage thugs of MS-13. And by the way, I want to pay my compliments to our great law enforcement in this country and also to Border Patrol and ICE. Border Patrol and ICE, they're incredible. What they have to endure. And then they have no backup from government. And then they say, defund our police. Nobody here. You know, I know some of the people in these rows right here. And they're very tough people, very tough. They don't want to work for ICE. They don't want to go into one of those packs. They call them a pack. And these are people that use knives rather than guns because it's more...
Oh my goodness. Carol Ann Jones just became a patron. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have you a part of the team. You're amazing.
Painful. They cut people up. They cut them up, and they cut them up badly. And these ICE people, they walk right into those packs, and they start swinging because, unfortunately, it's the only thing they know. It's the only thing that the MS-13 gangs, probably the worst gangs in the world, it's the only thing they understand is this toughness. But they do an incredible job, and they should be greatly respected. They're incredible patriots, and Border Patrol, incredible patriots. And we have to thank them, and your police are unbelievable. Unbelievable what they have to endure. And then they take all of the stuff with, we're paying them too much. We're paying them too. Let's get rid of the police. How about these Democrat cities that want to get rid of the police force? I really think they want to get rid of our country because nobody can really believe this stuff. Just 15 months ago, we had ended catch and release, stopped just stopped asylum fraud, deported thousands and thousands of gang members the hell out of our country.
Do you see me on Patreon? I think the account is under my name. Yeah, I saw you, Liberty. Thank you so much. I shouted you out earlier when it came through on my end. I appreciate it a ton.
We built nearly 500 beautiful miles of border wall, exactly as the border protection agencies wanted. We did it to their specs. But right now, the Biden administration has blown the border to shreds. Exactly 1 month from today, Joe Biden has vowed to terminate the Title 42 protection that I put into place, which gives us a lot of good protection. You know, I had Mexico give us free soldiers, 28,000. You know that, right? And everybody said, they'll never do that. I said, yes, they will, 100%. I said, what are the 12 things, or the 10, or the 9, or the 15?
Oh my goodness. Carol Ann Jones, thank you so much. Oh, you are so amazing. Carol Ann Jones just put in so much support. A massive contribution. That is, that means a lot. Thank you so much.
Give me the things you want most. And maybe you've heard this, I've told it very seldom, but I'll tell it to Ohio because I happen to love the people of Ohio. I worked in Ohio. It's here for more.
Oh, C.A. Jones, Carol Ann Jones. Sorry, I didn't even connect the dots. Thank you so much. I'm 100% serious, especially now you're in Patreon and the messages there, I'll be, few people are in there, so I'll be able to see all of them and respond to all of them. Definitely, if you ever need anything, reach out. Whatever I can do.
More than a year in the Queen City. You know what the Queen City is? Cincinnati. Swifton Village. Job called Swifton Village with my father. We bought a job in Ohio, Swifton Village, and we fixed it and made it good and sold it, and it was wonderful. But I got to know the state very well, and I love the people of Ohio. I love the people of Ohio. Great people. And we can tell you plenty of stories. Maybe I'll tell you the story a little bit later about how great our military is. Should I do that?
Who is that person screaming?
Thank you. Bikers. Thank you very much. Bikers for Trump. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But Mexico, so we had a meeting with Mexico. I met with a wonderful woman in the State Department. She's handled Mexico for 25 years. I met with her and some other people and law enforcement that focused on Mexico. And I said, give me the 10 to 12 things you want the most. And they looked at me like, not going to get them. And they wrote 12 things out. I looked, and one of them was military along the border, Mexican military, but they didn't even write the whole thing out. They just said some military because they said, you're not going to get them. I said, of course I'm going to.
Call me CA. Okay, perfect. Got it. CA it is. Thank you so much again. I don't even know what to do. Just sitting here. Thank you. Physical expressions of my gratitude.
Get them. Why would you say I wouldn't give them? Why wouldn't they give us free soldiers? Right? Why wouldn't they do it? They laughed at me like I was a stupid person. Remember I took the aptitude test because they thought I might be stupid. They really didn't. They thought I was really smart. So when they think they're really smart, then I took the aptitude test, Dr. Ronnie and many doctors, and I aced it. And now they don't call me stupid. They say, he's a dictator. He wants to take over the world. They used to call me JD. They said maybe stupid. So I said,
this is okay. Sorry. This is so good. So he's talking about that cognitive test, or he's about to. Ready? Let's go back. So he's saying that people called him stupid. This is the title of the video because I had heard this part.
right? Why wouldn't they do it? They laughed at me like I was a stupid person. You know, remember I took the aptitude test because they thought I might be stupid. They really didn't. They thought I was really smart. So when they think you're really smart, then when I took the aptitude test, Dr. Ronnie and many doctors, and I aced it. And you know, now they don't call me stupid. They say, he's a dictator. He wants to take over the world. You know, they used to call me JD. They said maybe stupid. So I said to Doc Ronnie, you know, Doc Ronnie is now a great congressman in Texas. Great, very popular guy. I think he won by like 52 points or something. But he's now a great congressman. I said, Ronnie, I don't like when people call me stupid. I had great heritage, an uncle who was a great, great genius, a father who was a genius, everybody.
So, just say that you believe you're a genius. He said it before. Don't, my grandpa was a genius, my dad was a genius, therefore I'm a genius. Trust me, I am in a family with very, very smart people. That does not mean that I'm anywhere as intelligent as they are. That's just such a weird way to try to say, so by transitive property, I'm a genius because I'm really close to them.
We have a lot of geniuses. I don't like being called stupid. Is there a test or something I can take to prove to these radical left maniacs that I'm much smarter than them? Is there a test? And he said, sir, there is a test. It's called the X test. I said, what's it?
So to be clear, he's acting like it's this big test about, you know, how intelligent are you? Liberty just said in the chat, I'm a neuro RN. He took the Montreal Cognitive Assessment. We use it, as gross screening for dementia. So he got screened for dementia and his doc went, you don't have dementia. And he's like, I'm a genius because of it.
Like he said, well, it gets very tough. The first questions are easy. And the middle of the test gets tough, and the end of the test is quite tough, sir, actually. I said, well, what happens if I don't do well? He said, well, you know, it's at this great hospital, you know, our great military hospital. We all know our military hospital, and the system is incredible, incredible, doctor. So I said, Walter Reed, I said, let me take it. He said, sir, here's the problem. If you don't do well, everyone's going to be reading about it on the front pages. I said, and if I do well, nobody's going to talk about it. That's the way it works with the fake news. They don't talk about it. So I said,
Donnie, everyone talked about it because you brought it up 100 times and we figured out it was a dementia test and it was hilarious. So everyone talked about it.
He said, and other people are present while you're taking it, sir.
But we don't think that you're lying that you did well.
I said, let's go, Dr. Ronnie, give me that goddamn test right now. I want to take that test. Give me that test, Dr. Ronnie. So they gave it to...
Why does he always get so sexual with Dr. Ronnie? That was the same one that he was like, he knows me, he knows my body than any man, the entire earth. When I do the Trump voice, it tickles my throat. That was the poem that I wrote, was him talking about Ronnie Jackson checking his body in that speech he gave.
Man, they start asking questions, and some, you know, around the third or fourth or fifth question, sir, name 5 things. I named 5 things I like. A group of people. Ohio. A fake teleprompter that I never end up using. And the fake news. Thank you, sir, very much. Thank you. Then they come back to you 20 minutes later, name the 5 things you named. And I hit it perfectly. They say nobody hits that one. And when we told that, you know,
if he wasn't formerly one of the most powerful people in the world and had a really good chance of being one of the most powerful people in the world again and did bad things while he was the most powerful, this would be adorable. It's an elderly man bragging that he was able to repeat 5 things back to a doctor on a dementia test and saying that makes him a genius. It's a little sweet. It's a little quaint. It's a little adorable, except that he could have the power to nuke someone or nuke a place, then it's less cute.
We told it on Fox. I hope Fox gets all straightened out. I hope they get all straightened out. But we told it on Fox, and everyone, oh, that's so easy. That's so easy. I say, you do it. Let's see you do it. So far, I haven't found anybody that's been able to do it, JD. It's not that easy. I haven't found anybody. But I took the test and aced it.
People got the test and people looked at it and took it. It's very easy.
Aced it means I got every single question right.
They're cheering.
And I actually think, especially in what we're going through now, I actually think that it should be mandatory for a president to do that. I do. But I aced it. I did well. But getting back to Mexico, so I said, give me the things. So it was all these things. And I said, no, we're going to get every one of them. And everybody in the room was sort of smiling and laughing and saying, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. We've been working on this for 25 years. So in comes the highest representative of Mexico, right under the top, right under the boss, who happens to be president. A really nice guy. I really like him. He's a socialist, but I like him. He's one of the socialists I like. See, I don't like Nancy Pelosi. I don't like Schumer. I don't like it. But I like the socialist who heads up Mexico. Now they're going to say, he's terrible. It's subversion. He likes the president of Mexico, but not these horrible human beings that are destroying our country. So I'm in there and I say, here's what we're going to do. He comes in and he laughs at me when I tell him we need 28,000 soldiers along the border, free. He looks at me like, free? Why would we do that? We need something called stay in Mexico. That means nobody can come into our country until we check them out, and it could take months and months and months.
Liberty, you're exactly right. Y'all are, I'm not even have one doubt in my mind. We have a really good plan to make it happen on my end, but then it's so fun to have you guys who are like awesome, and it's a small group. They're going to get to watch it grow as I roll out that plan and really grow it into something amazing. And y'all, like, knowing you were pretty much the very beginning is so fun.
And he said, we wouldn't do that. Why would we? And the other things were even worse. And I said to the State Department, watch. They said, we would never even consider doing that, and I'm ordering you to stop asking for it. I said, I'm the President of the United States. You can no longer order me. But so I looked at him, I said, you don't think you're going to do this, right? They said, we're not going to do any of them. Why would we do them? We're not going to give you 28,000 soldiers for free. I said, yes, you are. Because it's now Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock. And on Monday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm putting on a 25% tariff. All of the cars that you stole our industry, stole 32%. Every car that comes into the United States is going to have a tax or a tariff of 25%. And every other product you sell into the United States will be tariffed at approximately 25%, starting Monday morning at 8 o'clock. And he looked at me and he said, sir, it would be an honor to have 28,000 soldiers on the border. It would be an honor to have stay in frickin' Mexico. We want to have stay in Mexico. Max, we won every point. Max was there, Max Miller, one of the great guys. Max, were you there? I've never seen anybody fold
confusing.
like that. They said it would be an honor to have 28,000 free soldiers. And for 2 years, we did. And that's one of the reasons we had the best numbers in the history of the border. Thank you very much, Mexico. And one of those things, I hate to tell those stories because it's not nice, but it's the way you have to behave. Because all of these countries, Europe, all of them, they take advantage of the United States. I got billions and billions and billions of dollars, over $400 billion paid.
Doug said, I like being an early supporter. Please keep it up. Whoa, sounds like I am addressing an OnlyFans page. My goodness. Let's see. Luke, is there another platform you prefer? I don't know if it's rude to keep messaging on. No. It's not rude. Keep messaging for sure. I love it. William, yeah, we're not anymore. Oh, why? We just, weren't fully compatible. Let's see. To Doug's point, this is definitely not an OnlyFans, and it won't turn into that, you guys. But yeah, the live chat is definitely to be chatting in, so go for it.
Into NATO, because I told them, you're not paying. They weren't paying. We were protecting Europe. They were killing us on trade. They were killing you. They weren't taking our cars. They weren't taking our farm product. We were taking everything from them. BMWs, we were taking every car made by the millions that they weren't taking. I said to Angela Merkel, Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in Munich? And she said, why, I don't believe any. I said, you're right. How many do we have in Berlin? She said, why, Donald, I don't believe we have any. I said, you're right. You may have one in a museum from 40 years ago, right? But you have none. And yet you send us Mercedes-Benz and BMWs and Volkswagens by the millions. I said, no way. And we started that whole thing. But I said, we can't do that and also protect them militarily. So I told them, I said, and this was a big story last week because it was revealed for the first time. They probably knew about it, but they didn't like talking about it because it was too positive. But I said to the 28 countries at that time, including us, I said, no, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. The money came in by the billions. It was amazing. The money came in by the billions. And that is why NATO right now has so much money. Right now, they had $400 billion plus coming in. The head of a major country stood up. Are you saying, sir, that if we're not paid up, and they weren't, there were 8 countries that were paid, there were 20 that weren't paid. Are you saying that if we don't pay, you're not going to protect us? I said, yes, that's what I'm saying. Okay. They started sending checks like nobody's ever seen. And the Secretary General Stoltenberg said there's never been anything like this. Bush went in, he made a speech and he left. Obama went, made a speech, boring speech, and he left. They always forgot to ask for money. And
this is definitely the loosest and most casual rally I've seen of Trump.
We were really protecting Europe.
He's just doing a
almost
stand-up
100%.
routine.
NATO really didn't exist in terms of what they were doing. I got them to pay over $400 billion that it came in very quickly. Now, if I would have said, oh, yes, we'll protect.
Doug says, oh, in all caps, Luke is gay. I literally didn't know. Makes me wonder even more why he spends his weekend night on YouTube watching Trump rallies. So tonight is a Monday night, but I do also stream on the weekend sometimes. And yes, I am what the kids call gay, but there's not, I've found that is this a topic I want to get into? When you say why are you streaming at night? I found that I get more value out of doing things that I feel are productive than just spending all of my nights out and about, so.
Protect you no matter what you do, it's okay. They wouldn't have paid, right? That's the way it works in life. But all of this money that you see right now, and I was the one that said, we're going to send in the tank busters, right? Remember? We're going to...
Oh, Liberty, I'm not apologizing. Don't worry. If there's one person who never feels the need to apologize for this, it's me.
Send in javelins. You know that, right? And I got badly criticized at the time. We're going to send in javelins. And they said Obama sent blankets and Trump sent the tank busters, the javelins. And they did that to show how bad I was, what a horrible guy. It turned out that I was the right one because they would have had no defense without him. So, but you don't hear that anymore. They used to say, what a bad person. He sent them blankets and maybe some pillows. Did he send them pillows? So the very same people who piously claim to be defending democracy are the ones throwing open your borders, surrendering your sovereignty, defunding your police, prosecuting your politicians like nobody's ever seen before, by the way. And those you believe in, all of those people you believe in, they're trying to prosecute them. Eviscerating your laws, crushing your wages, diluting your vote, and handing your country over to millions and millions of illegal, foreign national, illegal aliens, I would call them, all without your consent. You haven't consented to that. On top of that, you had a fake, phony election. And by the way, oh, what a handsome president. Wow. Wow. Just looking, wow. I said, should I wear a red tie or a blue tie? They said, how about a blue one? He says, whatever you want, whatever the hell you want. No, that's a nice picture. See, those screens are very expensive. But on that screen, you know, we were paying so much for those damn screens, I said, let's just buy them. After about 3 events, we could have had them anyway. But you remember, and I think you just saw.
So they're looking at a photo of him. That's what's going on right now. Oof.
That Truth to Vote did a ballot harvesting operation, the likes of which has never been done in this country. Took them almost.
Monty Lou said, thank you. Keep up the good fight. Thank you so much. CA said, I'm an entitled 43-year-old white girl. CRT didn't have anything to do with my description. I'm a weirdo. Well, I think we're all weirdos, so I love it. Doug said, well, Luke, if you ever come to Puerto Rico, we'll hit the gay beaches. The Queen's Club for drag and another for dancers. Jaja. You will get better at balancing things when older. Well, there we go. I have a open invitation to go to the Puerto Rican gay beaches. That's not too shabby.
A year, and they found corruption in the 2020 election, the likes of which nobody has ever seen. And I do believe they played a little bit of it, and I believe they're going to be announcing it next week. They have found millions and millions of totally corrupt votes. Millions, and it's totally determinative. You know what determinative means? That is a blockbuster movie, and the press, the fake news, will do in fact, even now as I speak.
Oh, sorry, Jared. Yeah, it's probably haha. That's probably right.
2 of the lights just went off. 2 lights just went off. This is communism. This is communism. This is the beginning of communism. That's when it starts, when you have no press. We have no press.
Wait. 2 people stopped recording because he's been going on the longest, most boring rant. And he says, this is the beginning of communism. Well, communism now has 0 meaning.
Those 2 lights just went off. They don't want to talk about it.
The word communism. It's pointless. If you're going to use it in that context, you don't at all have the ability to actually talk about communism. Like, whenever you call policies communism, now we don't even have to listen or address that point because you thought cameras turning off were communism. You're
going to take a look next week at Truth to Vote. These are incredible patriots headed by Catherine Engelbrecht, who's an amazing woman, amazing woman. And you're going to see things that nobody thought. Now, that was only one form of cheating. They had many more. How about Wisconsin? Wisconsin now is going wild because they have nursing homes. And historically, people don't vote in nursing homes very much at a very low level. And in Wisconsin, they voted almost 100% voted. And you know how they found out? When the sons and the daughters and the relatives came in and said, my mom did not vote. She's comatose. She's been in a coma for months. She did not vote, and they had her down as voting. And they were getting tremendous complaints that these people didn't vote. And historically, a very small portion of people in nursing homes vote because they have other problems. We can understand. Perhaps we'll all be there someday. Could be with me too.
Trey Crowder. Yeah, I think I've definitely seen him before. He's really funny.
Family will say, get the hell this guy out of the house. You know, that's what happens. And they wouldn't.
Just to be clear, that's not Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder's not funny. Trey Crowder is funny.
They didn't vote. And now they find out that they voted close to 100%. Nothing like that's ever happened. So they have somebody up there, Justice Gableman. He's an incredibly respected man. And his report has been...
Jared said, I went down a Quora rabbit hole the other day with people going back and forth about whether Nazis were left-wing or right-wing. Might be a good deep dive video topic. Huh. People were taking the stance that Nazis were left-wing? Interesting. Okay, interesting. I guess because the Nationalist Socialist Party, but that was just a... So, yeah, here's what's tough. When you have like a fascist, or at least with the Nazis, they co-opted the language and veneer of socialism as a political stance because it was really popular and got the working class involved. But then their actual power was very, obviously fascistic, which is seen to be a right-wing extreme, but it doesn't really... Fascism doesn't really fall on a political linear graph because, or a linear spectrum, because it's kind of just like over there, because it's not really, small government. And whenever you think about the basic understanding of like what's right, what's left, even though now it's gone all out of whack, it doesn't really fall into that, but it is usually considered to be right wing. But I would be interested to see, yeah, you can send me the link, Jared. I'm a Syrian American and I have my master's in Holocaust studies. And what is your quick response to Jared's initial kind of topic question? Right, because, it just depends on what we're talking about. Do you agree, Liberty, that they tried to co-opt the left-wing kind of messaging, calling themselves the National Socialist Party or whatever, but then obviously had no progressive the antithesis of progressivism, obviously.
Absolutely unbelievable of the corruption that took place in Wisconsin, the ballot harvesting that took place incredibly in Georgia, where there's a level of corruption that you've never seen, and in Pennsylvania and these other states. Mostly they find in swing states, because that's the one they focused on. So you're going to watch that next week. I hope you're going to stay watching it, and maybe now if they want, they can turn their cameras back on. The Biden border crisis is also fueling the violent crime crisis in America. Under the radical communist socialist Democrats, it's open season on law enforcement officers like never before, and on law-abiding Americans. And by the way, I know it's possibly not politically correct, but I really don't care about that.
So, Liberty, I don't know if you're responding to me saying it depends. I wasn't saying it depends as in, it depends on how you look at it. I meant, are we saying what they purported to being, or what they actually were, I guess is my point. And there's a more nuanced conversation about what they tried to pretend to be compared to what they were, which I agree, far, far right.
I don't care about that. We have to give, in those cities that are being ravaged by crime and people being killed, many, many people sometimes in a week, worse than it was in Afghanistan. Remember, 18 months we didn't lose any soldier. I told Abdul, don't ever, ever, ever kill any American soldier again, because...
Liberty said what they pretended to be in the late 1920s, speaking about Nazis, means nothing. I agree. I'm just... it's just good to... I'm right that they called themselves socialists, right? Because we have to be aware of that stuff so that whenever right-wingers bring it up, because I've heard people say that to me, they'll be like, well, did you know that the Nazis were, it's just good to be prepared with what people are going to throw at you. And then you could explain, doesn't matter. Everything they did in their movement was far, far right. Does that make sense? Just being prepared with what they're going to say. They claim to be conservatives or Republicans. Unfortunately, a lot of them. Oh, we're talking about something else. Sorry. Liberty, so read up on what the name means. Well, tell me. You're the expert. I'm actually just asking. I have no claim right now. I just remembered seeing some breakdown of that a long time ago, so my memory could be fading. Just kind of give me the rundown.
If you do, it'll be hell to pay like nobody's ever had to pay. And he understood that. He understood that. It was very nice. I had a very nice conversation with him, actually. He was very respectful. He called me Your Excellency, Your Excellency. He said, but why, Your Excellency? Why? Why did you send me a picture of my house? Which I did. Nice house, actually. Very nice house. But you know what? For 18 months, we didn't have one soldier killed, not one. And yet in our Democrat-run cities, you have many people killed every week, and you have people shot every week. Worse than
Liberty, gotcha. Thank you.
in Afghanistan by far. Hard to believe, right? But we are going to do something about it, and the Republicans are going to do something about it. And I was always torn. Do I send in law enforcement? Do I send in the military into Democrat-run cities? I mean, the one good thing about happened with this fake election is that this little space, people are seeing how badly they're running things. Our country's gone to hell. You look at everything, and you look at the numbers on law enforcement. And I decided, let the Democrats run their cities. And I think I did the right thing, because if I sent in the military or if I sent in the National Guard, they'd say, he's a dictator. And we did do that sometimes after a period of time, like Minneapolis. We sent in the National Guard because after 6 days, that place was, you weren't going to have a city. And they did a great job. I sent them in. And we were going to send them into Seattle because they basically were taking over the city. And Portland, I did send them in. They were going to burn down the federal courthouse. By the way, do you notice that nothing happens to those people, right? Nothing happens to them. But we have people in jail that are police officers and firemen and others, and they're being treated so differently.
So yes, people who riot, and in particular, if they do a crime, which I think is usually what we associate with rioting. Yeah, obviously. Because that is what escalates it from protest to a riot. If you loot during a riot, if you vandalize, trespass, whatever, many times, like if they catch you, obviously, yes, you do get arrested. And it's just it's just so weird that we live in this world where it's like not even surprising to hear someone lie like this. Nothing happens to the rioters. You know how many people were arrested during the Black Lives Matter? Obviously, there were peaceful protests, and the Black Lives Matter related in the orbit of that protest. There was riots and people taking advantage of it. Tons of people were arrested, and even people who were just protesting. It's silly.
In Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Dayton, all Democrat-run cities, you have skyrocketing murders, rapes, robbery, shootings, and carjackings at levels that they've never seen before. This month, right here in Columbus, a 3-year-old boy was horribly shot when 15 bullets were fired into his house, killed. Last month, a 1-year-old baby girl was shot while sleeping in her home, lying in bed between her two parents, when a bullet came through the wall, through the mattress, and right into her back. And this month, a Columbus man was sitting on his porch when 2 vicious thugs tried to rob him, viciously rob him. And when he said, I don't have any money, please, please, I don't have any money, they shot him 8 times and killed him. But help is on the way. The reign of defund the police Democrats ends this November. And even more so, it's going to end in November of 2024. Thank you very much. Gotta end. We're not gonna have a country. Between horrible elections, think of it, borders, open borders, horrible elections. We're like a laughingstock all over the world. Our elections are a laughingstock. Look at France, they're having an election. You know what they do? Same day voting, all paper ballots, very simple. They have no problem. And that's what we have to get to. We can't have these elections that go for 48 days and they store the votes in a room, and where is the guard? Well, he took off today. Why? How come all these votes are being moved around? Think of it. Think of what they're doing. 48-day elections. We want one-day elections. We want paper ballots and no mail-in fake ballots. They cheat like never. There's never been an election like took place in 2020, and you gotta watch. You have to watch the movie next week. Dinesh D'Souza. He did a movie on it. But it's Truth to Vote. This is a group of unbelievable, many, many women. And you know what they did? They went through 50 miles of tapes because those fake lock boxes that were being stuffed all over the place, they have tapes. In many cases, government tapes. You know who's with?
Yeah. Charles said, you lost, period. Get over it, period. It's true. It's just so exhausting.
The worst, by the way, Georgia. A lot of the tapes were missing in Georgia. The governor of Georgia's done a poor job, poor job, and he didn't want to do anything about it. But Georgia was one of the worst. But they followed these tapes for almost a year. They've been reviewed, and they have people stuffing the boxes like you've never seen before. And you got just a little glimpse of it, but it was, I'm sure it was eye-shattering. But none of these vital changes will be possible if we don't kick the radical left, Democrat. So
just so you're clear, there's a few categories, maybe. There's kind of two categories with these election claims. And guys, I'm telling you, I had a friend, okay? Friend is I had someone that I knew. Oh, Liberty, good night. Thank you so much for being here. I had a person that I knew who was a Trump supporter and believed the election was stolen. And I just kept asking, like, you know, send me stuff. And he would send it. And it would either be something that wasn't true, like a doctored video, or a claim like more people voted than live in this state. And you go look it up. You look at the amount of people who voted, look at the state population. Nope. Or it would be a claim that sounded bad, and you look into it and it actually happened, but it wasn't bad. Here's an example. They're bringing in boxes of votes to steal the election from Trump. They send you a video. There is security footage of, you know, big stacks of ballots being carried and set down. And then you learn, oh, they're just carrying the ballots from where they were cast to the place that they count them. Nothing wrong. You know, like each one of these claims is either completely not true, or it's true, but it's not wrong. And there's nothing like wrong or illegal about it. It's so interesting. And he, to this day, hasn't sent me something that like was legitimate, and I wanted to see. And I was willing to say, yeah, that one is, because I was going to think like maybe there's a couple people who did some bad stuff, but like that didn't sway the election. Because I just think like, you know, millions of people vote, maybe a few people do some fraud, but it's not a big deal. But nothing. They sent me nothing. How can you believe the election stolen and not send me a single legitimate example of fraud or a legitimate example of all this crazy election manipulating you're talking about?
Socialists, I say communists, because again, when you don't have a media, when you have people turning off their cameras when they don't want to hear something, when you don't have a media that's going to police the corruption in this country, then you've got yourself a big problem. But we're going to throw them out of the House and out of the Senate this November. So important. And we have to do everything to maximize our chances of victory. Our country's at stake. It's all about winning. We have no choice. We have to win. We have to fight. They fight very dirty, very dirty. They used COVID in order to cheat in the election by sending millions and millions and millions of fake ballots all over the place. Nobody knew what the hell was happening. Some houses got many, many ballots. I won't say how many because they'll say, how do you know that? Many, many people. I could say in this audience, but of course this audience would have far fewer. If I went to another audience, almost everybody would raise their hand. That's why I'm very pleased to introduce the man with by far the best chance to defeat the radical Democrat nominee for the U.S. Senate this November. And you know what? You know what? He's a guy that said some bad shit about me. He did. He did. But you know what? Every one of the others did also. In fact, if I went by that standard, I don't think I would have ever endorsed anybody in the country. You want to know? They all said bad, but they all came back. But I will tell you, he was.
They all thought they should have principles. They realized that wouldn't work in the party that they're in, and then they had a medical procedure that took their spine out of their back, and now they defy science each day and walk around without a spine. It's amazing.
Tough, but the others were tough, and a lot of them said some really bad things, and ultimately I put that aside. By the way, he's been like incredible in the last period of time, long period of time, and so have the others for the most part. I guess in all cases the others.
Have I seen Hillbilly Elegy? No, I have not.
Others. But I have to do what I have to do. We have to pick somebody that can win. And this guy he's tough, he's smart, he's a former Marine. He's a Yale-educated lawyer, a great student. You know, went to Yale, got a law degree. He's a great student.
So some context about this is a lot of Trump supporters were getting mad that Trump was endorsing JD Vance because JD Vance was so against Trump previously. And so now Trump has to kind of recognize that. And that's why he said, he talked bad shit about me. And that's kind of this little thing that's going on is a lot of people were pretty mad at Trump for endorsing JD Vance. A lot of Trump supporters were, that is.
A fearless MAGA fighter. He fights like
MAGA
crazy.
Fighter?
And
what the?
He loves Ohio,
let's
and he
skip
frankly
this.
will be shed. MSDN.
He did not speak very long.
Let me introduce again the Republican who knows what time it is, the best president of my lifetime, the great Donald J. Trump.
Ugh. Just completely turning on your values. You said one thing and then you completely whipped around, kissing his booty just to get in power.
Thank you, JD. You get it. Thank you.
Jared says Ted Cruz being the front of the line for this fine extraction. Exactly.
So, JD is really an America First warrior. He believes so
CA, I guess I will have to check that out. Yeah.
So much in making our country great again, and he's going to do a job on these horrible people that we're running against. They really have been.
Yeah,
I don't want to
he
say
spoke for like 15
all
seconds.
of them. I
It's
can
crazy.
say a guy like Bill Kristol is opposed to him. Once others crying. Adam Kinzinger, Little Ben Sass from Nebraska, real lightweight. CNN, MSDNC, New York Times, Washington Post. They're all looking to do bad things. JD is also supported by a great group of people. Tucker Carlson, Senator Josh Hawley, Ohio Right to Life, Rick Grinnell, Bob Lighthizer, Stephen Miller, my son Don. We love Don, don't we?
I'm hungry, you guys.
And most importantly, JD, you're supported by me. I'm supporting you. I'm going to get you.
I'm gonna get you.
So if you want to deliver a historic victory for America First here in Ohio, and also...
Can I say something? Speaking of my hunger, my mother cooked me dinner tonight. It was delightful. Got to be with my mother, my father, and my sister for dinner. Amazing. She did, however, make a salad for dinner. Love my mother. Appreciate the labor of love making food. But a salad ain't gonna cut it for my dinner. I need a whole lot more calories and unhealthy stuff to fill my stomach. Love you, Mom.
Oh, a historic defeat for the people that are destroying our country. JD Vance.
Someone said, was it a word salad? I was giving her a word salad. Actually, no, not a word salad, but a word wall. I was talking a lot. I tend to talk a lot, if you guys can't tell. I kind of enjoy that.
Vance is your guy. He will do a tremendous job when you cast your vote. You have to imagine all of the liberal tears that will be cried and all of the rhino tears that will be shed when JD wins on election day. And all of you great conservatives who will be celebrating when he defeats a total lightweight. By the way, ran for president. He was the only guy. He had zero. Tim Ryan, he's running, I guess. I don't know. Is he going to win? I guess. Is he going to win the primary? I guess, right? Does he have anybody in the primary? But he's not good. He ran for president. He got zero. But what he will have, look, what he will have is tens of billions of dollars, and we can't take a chance. And that's one of the reasons. I mean, you know, I studied this very closely. I like a lot of the other people in the race. I liked him a lot, but we have to pick the one that's going to win. This guy's tough as hell. He's going to win. We have to pick him. He's right. He's right. He's the guy. He's the guy. The primary is May 3rd, but early voting is underway right now. So get out there and vote. May 3rd, a lot of Republicans like to vote on May 3rd. Remember last time they said, we're going to vote on election day. They go in, they say, I'm sorry, you've already voted. By the thousands. I'm sorry, ma'am, you've already voted. No, I wanted to vote on election day. I'm very proud. There's a beautiful woman walked in. Thousands of people. I'm sorry, ma'am, you've already voted. Some people left. They didn't know what happened. Some people cried. And some people got very angry, got beyond angry. Angry like nobody's ever seen. But they walked in and said, I'm sorry, because they had somebody
Hey, McJet.
vote for them. And I can tell you they didn't vote for Trump. I can tell you that. Also with us tonight is a person I know very well. He was in the White House with me from the beginning. He's a tremendous guy. I had no idea he was such a natural at politics, but he is. You know, it's just like baseball or golf or basketball or whatever. Some people are naturals and most people aren't. This guy is a natural. This was a very complicated situation on the districts, and he was at Trump plus 12. Then he went and he said, that's good. Then he went to Trump, they changed it. They had some court motions and hearings and decisions. And then he went to a Trump plus 8. Then he went to a Trump plus 2. Then he went to a Democrat district. And then he got a Trump plus 8. He's got a hell of a district. And he, you know what? Even when it went very bad for him, when he was in literally a Democrat district, if there's such a thing, I don't think there's going to be such a thing. There's going to be very few of them come November. But Max Miller never complained once. He said, I'll win. I don't care what. I don't care who. We're going to win because the people get it. And I'd like to ask Max just to come up here for a second. He's great. Great guy. He's a great guy. Going to be a tremendous congressman. I'm proud of him. Thank you, Max.
I
Great
skipped
guy.
that nicely. Yeah, I have no clue what's being said right now. Sorry.
Another person that I've known for a long time, always been successful, always loved your state and your people, and going to
We can
represent
skip through all these shout outs.
Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you, fellas.
Okay. I'm suspiciously landing these skips. Dang.
They really have been. They've been fighting against some very bad people for a long time and fighting well and winning. We've been winning. Ohio State Auditor Keith Faber.
Okay,
Thank
we're
you,
skipping.
Keith. Where is JR? Do it, I guess. Under Bush, Russia invaded Georgia. Under Obama, Russia took
Ukraine.
Crimea. Under
And
Biden, Russia took everything. Or they're sure as hell trying, but they've destroyed everything. You look at those cities, they're flattened. And under me, Russia took nothing. Nothing. In fact, let's go a little bit different. I took their pipeline, right? I stopped their pipeline. And Biden approved it right after he got into office and unapproved our Keystone pipeline, as you all know. But no, that was a terrible mistake. And if they're talking about the environment, there's nothing better than that versus the alternatives. The left is horrible on foreign policy, horrible on the economy, horrible on the border, and horrible on crime. Other than that, they're doing a wonderful job. The only things Democrats are good at is using law enforcement against Republicans and cheating in elections. They're great at that. They're great at that, record-setting great. The truth is, I ran twice, I won twice, I did much better the second time than I did the first. Getting almost 12 million more votes than we did in 2016 and getting more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country.
We've gone over this. Yes, you got more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country. And Biden got way more than that.
And now we may very well have to do it again, won't we, huh? Too bad. Watch Truth to Vote. Just watch it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Over our 4 incredible years, we accomplished more for this state than any administration in the history of our country. I withdrew.
McJet says Trump won't run. Interesting prediction.
From the horrible Trans-Pacific Partnership would have totally killed your manufacturing and your auto industry. We created 500,000 new manufacturing jobs in my first 3 years. President Obama said there would be no more manufacturing jobs. We fought for Ohio, and we won big for Ohio, and that's why you won big for me twice, and I appreciate it. I will never forget it. And when Republicans retake Congress, we will fight and we will win for Ohio once again. We are going.
Just so y'all know, do you see right here? It says Trump rips Democrat policies. It just reminded me, so often, pretty much every time that Republicans say the Democrat Party, they say it like that, the Democrat Party, or Democrat policies. That's not correct. It's the Democratic Party and Democratic policies. The Democrat policies. It's just not correct. You're not using the words correctly.
Going to win. We're going to win bigger and better and stronger than even before. This week, a Trump-appointed judge liberated Americans from Joe Biden's oppressive mask mandate. With all of the stories I read, I just didn't read anything about the fact that, and I was very proud to appoint that judge. I was very proud of what she did, and it's a great appointment. She did something very brave. But now the administration is appealing the decision, and we have to have our freedoms. With a Republican Congress, we will also protect parents' rights. No teacher should ever be allowed to teach transgender to our children without parental.
What? No teacher should be allowed to teach transgender. You hear these stories of the teachers teaching transgender to our kids. What? Transgender what? Transgender ideology, about transgender people, like, oh, it's too good. They're making our kids transgender by teaching them transgender.
Parental consent. Isn't it amazing how that's become such a big subject? And who would even think that that would be a big subject?
Okay, you know what? No. I can't just watch through this. Okay, you want to talk about saving our kids? You are the political movement that is causing insanely high suicide rates among transgender youth and other LGBTQ youth as well. Because you are fostering an environment in school. You don't want to talk about it. You want to pretend that it's this horrible, bad thing. So you're causing kids to look at themselves in the mirror and think that something's wrong, and therefore, and not to get the support that is proven to minimize their likelihood to commit suicide. What would be more protecting the kids than trying to prevent them from being so unhappy that they want to end their own life? It's sickening. And we look at the thing in Texas. In the name of saving kids, we're taking kids away, or it didn't end up going through because it's not constitutional. But what Greg Abbott was trying to do, Governor Greg Abbott, was to take kids away and call their parents child abusers if the parents followed the medical recommendations of doctors in the medical community right now, which is, if you have gender dysphoria, one of your options is to take puberty blockers, which are completely reversible, but that'll allow you to not get so detached, your physical and your mental. If you look so much because you went through a puberty for a sex that you don't identify with in its presentation. Just because you have a profound misunderstanding about what we're talking about, you truly, if you're one of the people who's like, parent rights, of course parents have rights in regard to what is taught at schools. They don't have a right to create a society and create a situation in schools where transgender people are so stigmatized that their suicide rates are through the roof, which is what it is now. And the things that are proven to decrease those suicide rates and increase the well-being of these kids is gender affirming care. That doesn't mean they're getting sex reassignment surgery under 18. No, that happens after. We're talking about very reasonable, mostly, a lot of them are reversible, medical care. And you want to prevent that on one end, and then also you want to completely prevent the teaching about what it means to be a transgender person. That's not any teacher saying, hey, you should be transgender, like you should, even if you don't feel that way, you should. Of course not. They're saying if you do feel this way, we have a supportive space here for you. And here's what it would mean. Because there are tons of people, including everyone I've talked to who's gay, everyone I've talked to who's transgender, etc. You have a moment in your life where the things that you have felt your whole life are finally explained to you, and then you can put a label on it. When you're a little kid, you're just confused. For example, with my experience, like, wait, why do I feel differently as far as attraction goes than my friends? And then eventually a label is taught to you and you're able to figure your life out easier. And you want to prevent kids from hearing about that. Oh, don't hear about it. Blah, blah, blah. It's so bad. And that's what you're calling parental rights. And then also you're saying don't talk anything about sexual anything. No, it is also proven that by teaching sex ed as early as possible, that's not explicit sex ed, but teaching basic principles of what's, like, for example, they talk about what's good touching and bad touching, so that you know, and it's as a child, what is appropriate for adults to be doing and not appropriate. And it is proven that you dramatically increase the amount of reports of sexual abuse and equip children to understand and prevent sexual assault. And so all you're doing, if you're supporting the Republican Party right now in these particular areas, is discriminating against certain groups of people, making it harder for people to understand their own identity because they're not having it explained to them, fostering an environment where certain topics are off limits because they're so bad, which further leads to discrimination, completely pushing away conversations around anything sex related in schools, which again is proven to help address sexual assault of minors, a lot of times by their family members. That's why you have to do it in school. You can't trust the parents, because the parents are a lot of times the ones sexually assaulting their kids. And so all the things we could do to protect our children, they don't want to do. And they're saying it's to protect the children. Makes no sense.
Who would even think we'd be talking about that? Who would even think that would be a subject where it gets like the biggest hand of all? Who would think it's possible? And, you know, while we're at it, we don't want men competing in women's sports. Is that okay?
And just to be clear one more time, if you're a conservative watching this, what we're talking about in teaching in schools is basic stuff. Hey, these are areas that nobody should be touching you. Like these are things you have to teach to little kids so they understand what is good, what is bad, what they need to tell somebody about and what they don't. And when you don't do those things, these dumb, like weird, a lot of times heavily religious areas that keep any talk about sex out of schools, it's way harder for kids to get out of those situations where they're being sexually abused. Look into the facts before you have an opinion. Just because it feels right in your ignorant mind doesn't mean that it is right, okay? And then also, all we're talking about with LGBTQ stuff is, hey, you know how your mom and dad... Sorry, I'm not going to do that voice. You know how your mom and dad are together and they love each other? Sometimes two guys do that. That's why, you know, teacher Doug or whatever has a husband. Interesting. Move on. And then later on, you're explaining a little bit like, yeah, I don't need to get into the specifics of what sex ed would look like, but, and then talking about transgender people. Oh, have someone come into class. Here's whatever. I'm not going to blank, Jane Doe. And here's a concept you can know about. We're not encouraging anybody to do anything. We're just teaching you about a thing that exists in the world. But no, that's all violating parental rights.
You saw the recent race, the swimming meet, where an 11-year-old record, and they had one young lady, she was going to break that record by 1/8 of a second. She's been working for years. She's going to break that record. And the gun goes off, and a guy broke it by 38 seconds. He went by her so fast, she got windburn in the pool. The best, though, are the weightlifting records, you know? A record that stood for, I think, 17 years, I read. And this woman, you know, they put a tiny little quarter of an ounce on one side of those big barbells, and they put,
oh my gosh, you guys,
and like it's
sorry.
208 pounds or whatever the hell, and she's getting up.
I wasn't even.
She's so proud she got it up here, and then she's ready to. Then she didn't quite make it, but she'll make it. But here's the problem: this guy gets up, bing. They said, "Have you lifted before?" "No, I haven't really." It's so ridiculous. And you know, people aren't supposed to talk about it. Even the young ladies that are being just beaten so bad. So unfair. It's so unfair. They talk about women's sports. It's so unfair. And yet, the women that are getting beaten don't want to. They said, "Do you have any comment?" No, I'd rather not comment. I'm not afraid to comment. I'll comment. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And we will get critical race theory out of our classrooms and out of our military. Thank you. And we're also going to defend free speech, because we don't have a free press and we don't have free speech anymore. Our speech is censored by those people right back there. Before 2016, America had a free and open internet. That all changed when I began using social media to bypass the fake news and defeat the corrupt Democrat candidate, crooked Hillary Clinton. Did anybody ever hear of crooked Hillary Clinton? This terrified the left, big tech, and the legacy media because they saw that social media could be used to challenge their own propaganda. I guess I did it well in 2016, but think of it. I got like 12 million more votes in 2020, and we didn't have it. So I don't know the level of power, but we did much, much better the second time. But they were confused, and they conspired to ban me from every social media platform on the face of the earth. Millions and millions of you had already experienced big tech's vicious censorship. Because of this digital tyranny, we had to give the American people their voice back by building something called Truth Social. Truth Social. And I think Truth Social is going to do well. It's moving along nicely. You look at Twitter and you look at how badly it treats everybody, and it's a real mess. But Truth Social phone users can download the app today and get their voices back, and it's open and ready to go and go out and
Truth Social. What a sad endeavor.
Use it and have fun with it. And non-iPhone users are coming very, very soon to make Truth Social a free speech alternative to big tech platforms. Our team is working around the clock and has recently enabled every single person on the wait list to join the platform. A lot of people are on the wait list. Now you can join. As of last night, I think at 10 o'clock in the evening. Big tech has banned so many Americans, there's none left to ban. All that's left to ban are their fake bot accounts. You know, they're bot accounts, a lot of phony accounts. The Truth Social, we're canceling the plague of radical leftists that's destroying America. We'll work with any pro-free speech company. We want it all to be good, just like we are with Rumble. Rumble's doing a great job, and we've teamed up to build this incredible platform. So go out and sign up now, have a lot of fun. And finally, we have no choice. We must restore the integrity of our elections. From now on, we must have universal voter ID, citizenship confirmation, no more drop boxes. The drop boxes are just so bad. No more drop boxes. And no private money. How about Zuckerberg? He puts in $417 million, most of it going to Democrat areas. You know, if you spend $100 more than $5,600 or whatever the number is, they put you in jail. Here's a guy gave $417 million, and most of it was sent and shipped to Democrat areas. You think that's fair? In addition, every state should follow the lead of the Patriots in Arizona, where yesterday Kari Lake, Mark Fincham, and others filed a lawsuit to ban electronic voting machines and replace them with a transparent hand count system. Paper. We don't have to worry about signals being sent down from the sky. Politicians on both sides of the aisle have long criticized the insecurity of electronic voting machines. If you looked at the letters from some of your wonderful Democrat senators, you saw Kamala Harris, how she's doing as vice president. Do you think she's doing a good job as vice president? Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren, Amy.
Yes, he has talked about his cognitive test.
Klobuchar. You see their letters talking about, you know, the voting machines are corrupt. They got to stop them. They got to stop them. All of a sudden they say, oh, aren't they wonderful? This is not a partisan issue. This is an issue for our country. Everyone should want free and fair elections, and we must have voting systems that all Americans can again trust. Nobody trusts them. Nobody trusts them. We have to go back to one-day voting and paper ballots. with only mail-ins being accepted for our distant military or people who are very, very sick, and we have to confirm that. Mail-in ballots, long-term voting, and no voter ID or signature verification is absolutely killing our country, our reputation, and our elections. People have to believe in their elections. They have to believe that they were honest. And if you look at even the polls, a vast number of people feel that the election, presidential election of 2020 was rigged and stolen, and you can't have that. You can't have that. And then you look at the fact that these decisions that are being made are so bad and that our country's going to hell.
Guys.
And none of those decisions should have been made. Holding millions of ballots in storage is dangerous and not acceptable. The only way...
Yeah, it is funny that he says that stuff about mail-in voting, because he's voted by mail his, like, at least the last few elections. But also, there's just no notable fraud, like no significant amount of fraud that would have any effect on any election. So we might as well open up voting to as many people as possible. Why wouldn't we want to get more and more people involved? And then if you see even a little bit of fraud, you can restrict, but we don't see any fraud. Like it's just not a prevalent issue. So yeah, open it up to as many people as possible.
Is a one-day voting and paper ballots. One day. Don't store them in boxes, and then the boxes disappear and a new box comes in. One-day voting. One-day voting. You go one day, even if they made a holiday, let it have a holiday. They name holidays for everything imaginable nowadays, right? Let's have a holiday if they want. One-day voting, paper ballots. Nobody's going to play games. You can watch them quickly. We don't.
One day voting, paper ballots in person. That's crazy. You know how difficult it's going to be to get. We already see insane lines when there is days and days of early voting. People are going to not even be able to go and exercise their right to vote. There's no need to do this. All you're doing is needlessly restricting people's rights.
We don't have to worry about foreign countries. We don't have to worry about anything. One day voting, paper ballots. And if we're going to have mail-in ballots, we're never going to have honest elections. You can't have. These ballots were sent to everybody. I predicted it correctly last time. I've been given some credit for it. I said it's going to be a disaster. It turned out to be even worse than anybody thought possible. Republicans must get smart and end mail-in ballots.
But yeah, as Jared said, I am definitely in favor of an election day holiday. Like, it should be a holiday, but we should still have early voting.
Or you're not going to have any Republicans elected in this country anymore. These people, Mitch McConnell and these people are so stupid.
That's true.
We're
but
just
not
7 months away
think.
from the most important midterm victory in American history. This is the most important ever, and we need a landslide so big that the radical left cannot rig or steal it. As hard as they will try, the one way you win, you're going to swamp them like we did in Texas, like we did in Ohio, like we did in Florida, like we did in other states. You get it so big, there's a point at which they can't do their magic, right? Their crooked magic. This is the year we're going to take back the House. We're going to take back the Senate. And we are going to take back America. And in 2024, most importantly, we are going to take back that very, 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 very beautiful White House.
That was a lot of varies.
Thank you very much. And just in closing, first of all, we have to put JD Vance in the U.S. Senate. So get your friends and get your family, get everyone you know.
and get out and vote for JD without delay. Do it now, do it then, but get out and vote. With the Republican Congress, we will fight for more jobs for Ohio families, fair trade for Ohio workers, and more Ohio factories forging more products stamped with that beautiful phrase, made in the USA. We will shut down Biden's border disaster, reinstitute our strong Remain in Mexico policy, reimpose Title 42, which is right now being decimated by the Biden administration, and strengthen the ICE and Border Patrol patriots. We will again end, and we have no choice, catch and release. We will end chain migration. We will end visa lottery, and we will quickly finish the wall. It can be done in 3 weeks, which was delayed with 2.5 years of lawsuits and other litigation, all by Democrats in Congress. We will stop the Democrat crime wave. We will give our police the power they need and the respect they deserve. We will not take legal protection away from them. They want to take legal protection away from our police. Let them represent themselves. That's not going to happen. We will restore law and order in America. We will hold China accountable for unleashing the virus upon the world. We will lead humanity back to the moon, and the United States will be the first nation to land astronauts on Mars. We're very close to doing it. We will protect innocent life. We will defend our Constitution. We will defend the Second Amendment, which is totally under siege. And we will proudly uphold
the Second Amendment under siege. What's one thing they passed that was attacking the Second Amendment? Oh my God.
Judeo-Christian values and principles of our nation's founding. We will restore patriotic education to our schools, and we will teach our children to love their country, honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. Our MAGA movement, Make America Great Again, is by far the greatest political movement in the history of our country. Nobody can dispute it. Even the fake news doesn't want to talk about it. They can't do it. There's never been a movement like it. And it's also a movement of common sense, and it's a movement of love. There's great love in this movement. Together, we're standing up against some of the most menacing forces, entrenched interests, and vicious opponents our people have ever seen or fought against. Despite great outside powers and dangers, our biggest threat remains the sick, sinister, and evil people from within our own country. There is no threat as dangerous to democracy as they are. Just look at the Unselect Committee of Political Hacks and what they're doing to our country.
He got so mellow all of a sudden. Doug said, oh, the hanging Chad stuff. Yeah, I know about it, though, at least. I wasn't politically active because that was 2 years before I was born. But
while radical left murderers...
I try not to mention my age too often because I think the time I put into political education way surpasses most people who are older than me. So the knowledge that I feel like I have and the value that I can bring to the table as far as a political commentator, I don't want to be overshadowed by the fact that I'm quite young. Because a lot of people are like, oh, you're so young, why are you talking about politics? Well, it's not the time you've been alive, it's the time you've been researching these issues.
Rapists and insurrectionists roam free. Nothing happens to them. But no matter how big or powerful these corrupt radicals may be, you must never forget...
Doug, no, I was born in 2002.
This nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs...
Doug said, oh God, I'm an old gay. Be proud, though. Old gays are what keeps this society churning.
belongs to
Churning.
you. This is your home, this is your heritage, and your great American liberty is your God-given right. From Akron to Toledo, from Cleveland to Columbus, and from Dayton to right here in Delaware County, you inherit the legacy of generations of Ohio patriots like Neil Armstrong, Annie Oakley, President William McKinley, a man who, by the way, happened to believe strongly in tariffs to protect the workers of our country. Great president, doesn't get enough credit. And the amazing Ulysses S. Grant. That's not bad.
I agree, Doug.
They fought battles, they broke barriers, they conquered dangers, they pushed into new frontiers, and they risked everything they had for this beloved nation. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and it is hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. We're going to fight for America like no one has ever fought before. We will not let radical left lunatics or rhinos take away from us what has been so brilliantly forged over nearly 250 years. These are sick people who are making our country sick, but we are the doctors and the nurses and the professionals who will fix it and make it better and maybe healthier than ever before. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never, ever back down as long as we are confident and united. The tyrants we are fighting do not
I know, CA, I was thinking the same thing. Ain't no mountain high enough.
stand a chance of victory because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and to God alone. So, my fellow citizens, this incredible journey we're on together has only just begun. It's only just begun. This is a movement like no other. It's only just begun. And it is time to start talking about greatness for our country, not other things that make no sense whatsoever. We want to start talking about our country and greatness again. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious American nation. So with the help of everyone here today and citizens all across our land, we will make America powerful again.
Here we go.
We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Ohio. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, there we go. Wow. That was an interesting one. He was definitely in a rare mood, so that was fun. But we got through it, and I'm proud of that for sure. That's a lot. That's just an emotional ride. All right, I gotta wrap it up. I appreciate all of you so much. Everyone who joined the Patreon, I cannot tell you how much that means. CA, your massive contribution is greatly appreciated. And I hope you do well and get better and all of those good things. And I'll see you guys next time.